Alrighty, y'all. Welcome back to another episode in live stream of Let's Build Twitter. So I haven't been doing a very good job of this, but I wanted to go ahead and remind y'all that this is not a public repository, but you can get access to this. I know I used to say it in every single episode, but there's some people coming in maybe at the end of the series or maybe at the beginning of the series that haven't seen this, so maybe they're starting here. So if you do want access, there is a link in the description to a video that explains exactly how you gain access to the private repository. You also gain other things in the membership, like for example, you get to watch the videos early, and some other things will primarily just watch videos early and don't add you to the repository. So check out that video if you're interested. Last episode we were working on the profile page and we got this. So this is just a blank screen. Eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to put in profile banner, and it looks like Twitter might be a little bit wider now, so we might be able to update how wide this is. And it might be because my screen is a little bit bigger, so it is what it is. We have our profile picture. Again, this will be changed whenever there's actually a profile picture. And now we're going to go ahead and work on is the follow button and all of this stuff. So the follow button should have like a ring around, or this dot should have a ring around it. Follow should be circle. We'll kind of go from there. Also, I think I know how to fix this part. So let's go ahead and go to the part that's sticky. I want to try something really quick. So if we go to the part that's sticky, I'm not really sure what part this is, and this is off of a whim. It might be profile top bar. Actually no, it's going to be where we have our search bar. So let's go into, it'll be discovery and components, and then discovery. It might just be discovery. I'm not sure if it's discovery search bar. Let's see if the CSS. So yeah, stop sticky. So let's say top sticky like 2px. Let's try 4px. Yeah, there we go. So now it's actually staying right there. It doesn't really matter that much. I just kind of wanted to get the stick where we wanted it. So let's go ahead and do this, and then we'll kind of go from there. I haven't really been sticking to any plans or anything. So let's go ahead and close out of this. And we are working on profile top bar. And it looks like we actually made a profile follows section. So currently we only have the profile follows section, and then we also have follow section profile picture where it's kind of stuck at a specific location. So now let's come back in here. So we did the PFP. So now let's do the left part. I think what we could do for this is let's say width 50% and kind of see how that looks. And then height, whoops. If I can't type today, we'll just be fit content. And then we want this to be display flex and align items in the center. And I'm trying to think what else we need. We probably want justify content space evenly. So justify content space evenly, or around maybe. We'll try space around. So let's just see if this does anything. So okay, so that might be a little bit big, and we might also want to say, instead of justify content space between, we can actually say like flex end, and then we can add some row gap and kind of see that looks fine. And then maybe we add some row gap. Would it be row gap, or would it be column gap? So column gap of like 8px. And 8px might be a little bit aggressive. We'll see. I think that looks okay. Now this guy isn't perfectly centered, so we'll need to deal with that. And I'm hoping we have a wrap around it. We do. Cool. So let's just go ahead and do this. So before I do anything, I'm going to say width is equal to 20. Well, actually we need to do sx equal to an object. And we're going to have width is 20px. And our height will be 20px. We don't need to put a font size on this. I'm just going to keep it black. So that should help with that, and hopefully this centers it better. No, it just made it smaller. So let's go ahead and do this. It could be this part. So next we'll do this section. So width 34px, height 34px. Let's fix this, 34. And this one will have a border of 1px solid, and this is going to be the light gray color. So it's going to grab the light gray. I believe it's light gray because most of our borders are typically light gray on the light mode. So let's grab that color, and I don't know why I keep forgetting my colons. Okay, and the border radius will be 100%. Display flex, so we can center it. So display flex, justify content in the center, and align items in the center. I don't think we need anything else. So let's just take a peek at what this one looks like. So it looks pretty good. And there's probably a hover effect. So let's just copy this because I'm lazy. Copy this, paste it in there, except I got the dot already, so we don't need that. and we'll hover, and inside we'll say cursor pointer, and then we'll also have a background color of, and let's go ahead and convert this to RGBA because it really is just like a lighter version of it. So let's go ahead and put in the RGB. Let's convert this to RGBA, and then let's go ahead to like 0.5 just to lighten it up a little bit, just like 0.3. Yeah, okay, now let's do the follow. But let's go ahead and grab the profile section button, and we'll need to do the follow part on this. So profile section button, width is 80px, and height was 36, fine, 36px, and there's no border, so border none, whoops, none, but we do want a border radius of 18px. We want a background color of Twitter blue, which I do not have access to here. So let's go ahead and grab Twitter blue from here and paste that in there. And what else are we gonna want? Might want the font size slightly bigger. So we can go ahead and say font size 15. That might be the default font size, I don't know. 15px, and font weight, let's go ahead and say 600 because this is a little bit thicker. And I think that's everything. There's a hover effect. So, and maybe we make that white, the color white, because that color looks a little bit weird with black. I think that's probably good. And let's go ahead and put a cursor pointer on there. And then let's go ahead and say dot profile follow section, whoops, follow section button, and make sure we put a hover on here. And in the hover, we'll go ahead and put a background color, and we want this color, this blue color, but probably like a little bit darker shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop up a shade generator, and we're gonna go like 10% darker. I'm going to just copy that, put in my pound sign, and do like a little bit darker. It should be just slightly darker, but you should be able to notice it. So as you can see, and honestly 10% might be a little bit too much darker, but I think that's fine. So now obviously whenever we click on it, we want to actually be able to follow the person. And then we're also probably going to need your following list, maybe the person who's logged in's following list. That way you can see that they're following this person. And then because whenever you follow them, the button's going to change. So that's like the last thing that you deal with. So I'm guessing for follow, we probably want to go ahead and mess with the user slice, because this is the person that's currently logged in, and we can go ahead and update this logged in user. So we might need to, whenever we log in the user, or whenever we get the user maybe, because I think we get user by token as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up a following list. So this can be, so go ahead and say following, and this will be a user array, and this can start out as empty, and followers, which is a user array and empty. And we're gonna have to basically update this whenever we follow the person as well. So the initial state, our following, will obviously be an empty array. Followers, whoops, followers will be an empty array. And then what we're gonna want to go ahead and do, I guess, is we could probably do this in login user. I don't know, we might be able to just set this up as like an async function, like a private async function. So async function, and then we can call this get followers, right? And then see what if we even have one to get followers. So if we go into user controller, let's go to the bottom. So yes, so we do get followers username, so get the users followers, and then following, I don't know what TR stands for. I think this was supposed to say username as well. So we can go ahead and pass in here username string, and this will return a user array. All right, and then obviously this is async, and then we can also get following. My mouse wants to work. My mouse has been really glitchy lately. I don't know what the deal is. Get following, and then what I'm thinking we can do is do a promise all. Once all these come in, we can set both of them maybe. Const rec is equal to await axios dot, and this is a get request to http:// whoops, maybe local host :8000/user and then slash, and then so this one would be followers slash, and actually might as well do $, so backticks here so we can use our $, curly brace, and then we'll say $, curly brace, pass in that username. Now the thing is, I don't think we had to have the auth token for this. So we can return rec.data, and this should just return the list of users. What's your problem? User is not a valid async type because it's a promise compatible, blah, blah, blah. Let's just do this, I guess, and hopefully it works. We can copy this, paste this, and we probably want to try catch this, to be honest, but whatever. And then this will be following. So theoretically, what we could have done was whenever we log in, we could have done, like, once the user gets set, get the following followers. I'm thinking maybe we do this inside the login functionality as well, because this is something we want as soon as we're logged in. So now I need to remember how to use promise all. What we could say is inside of here, so we have our rec.data, so we can say const user is equal to rec.data, and then what we can go ahead and do, this won't work though, right? Because this has to return like a single object, although we can return all three things, so that's fine. So const user is equal to that, and then we're gonna say await, we can probably say let following and followers equal to await promise.all, promise.all, and then we can go ahead and say that we want to await get followers with, and we might have to say this actually, so we might have to say const followers is equal to, and then get followers with the user dot username, and then const following is equal to get following with user dot username. Okay, and then we'll promise all followers and following. Might need to be this. Okay, followers and following, and then what we'll go ahead and do is we will say return object return logged in is equal to user. We'll return followers is equal to following and followers, and we might just say 0, and then we'll say following is following and followers of 1. Let's also try catching this, so let's go ahead and try catch. I don't know what we're gonna do if we catch. Maybe we should return an empty. Maybe we should return this and do the same thing here. Try this and then copy this, paste that, and then if we catch an E, we'll just return an empty. So catch E, and here just return. I don't know why my sound is going crazy either. Okay, now what's the problem? I'm assuming this part is mad for logged in. Action.payload dot. So instead of user, it's going to be probably logged in. So let's grab logged in for all of these. And honestly, I don't know why we don't just, I don't know why we did it this way. Ooh, we also need a token. Action.payload dot logged in dot token. This is actually like logged in dot user ID, right? So like I need to do this like one layer deeper, I think, and this is probably super scuffed, so this is gonna be fun when it's broken. User, and then we also need to set the followers to action.payload.followers, and then the following is action.payload.following. that fixed that. Okay, go ahead and log out. So right now, the only way to log out is to go into our application and delete this token. So we delete the token, and if we refresh, I'm going to keep this, should kick us out to the home page. Cool. Go into our sign in, go ahead and sign in with unknown coder and password, try to log in. So we got a server error, get followers and get following. So it's gonna be like user.user, right? Because our login returns a user. So that's kind of annoying. So it's gonna be like user.user.username, I believe. Let's go ahead and change this to user.user.username, user.user.username, and then we can still pass in the whole logged in object. That's fine. So let's go ahead and try this. Let's go ahead and clear out the application again. So let's clear out a token, refresh. I should really go ahead and set up the logout so I can do stuff like this easier. I'm just too lazy. So let's go ahead and say password. Okay. And inside of here, so we still got a 500. So this one is get following. This is really stupid. I just changed that TR. Okay, let's try this again. So let's go ahead and go into our application and let's go ahead and log out. So go into application, delete our token. So let's go ahead and log back in as unknown coder and put in our password. And there we go. Okay. Yep. So I just scuffed that. And again, we don't have any following. So that's working just fine. So now we need to do the same exact thing in our other code. So if we come back in here, so whenever we actually get the user from whatever, so I'm going to literally copy and paste the same exact code. Again, probably not the best way to do this. We probably would want to, although this one's log in instead of, so this one we might want to do slightly differently. We still want the followers and following and promise all, but here we do this. We have the data. So we'll say const users equal to rect that data. And this one, I think we literally do only have the user. So this one, I think we can go ahead and say copy all this. And we're going to scuff a bunch of things, but it's fine. So now we can go ahead and say user.username and user.username. Okay, and then it's going to break some other things. So let's go down to our get user by token. Yep, there it is. Get user by token. So logged in will be action.payload.user. Or logged in. Username will be logged in.username. And then we also want to set followers. Find action.payload.followers. And following will be action.payload. Following. And let's go ahead and if we refresh our application, let's make sure that this works properly. So let's inspect and go to our console, and if we refresh, it should grab the token, do all that. So it didn't print anything, but we got this and this. I don't know what's undefined there, but the fact that it didn't break anything is probably fine. So now we did all of that, so we can go back into our user slice once again, and we can set up a follow. The follow is pretty confusing, so hopefully I can get this right. So let's go ahead and say export const, and we'll go ahead and say follow user equal to create async thunk. And this would be user/follow. And what we can go ahead and do is async. And I don't know what this needs. I'm assuming it needs a token. So let's go ahead and make a interface. So we can go ahead and say interface follow user body. And this will take in a token string. And then, whoops, don't do that, string, and then a followee. Not a great name, it's string, but it is what it is. So we have the token from our account and then who we're following. So now let's scroll down. Instead of token string, we're gonna have a body, which is a follow user body. We'll have our thunk API. This is just an arrow function. We'll go ahead and do this. So set up a try and a catch E, maybe. Oh my goodness. And this will return thunk API dot reject with value E. And now we'll go ahead and say const request. is equal to, and this will be Axios dot, and this is a post request to http ://localhost 8000 /user/follow. And honestly, this could have been a GET request. So I'll go ahead and do that. So I guess we'll say data is, so data will be followed user. So then we have to do it like this. Followed user is going to be user, or actually it'd be body. Please don't do that. Body.followee, and then we'll have headers. Or does this need to be, you know what? This might need to be outside this. So we might be able to just say data, because I don't think I have a post request like this. So we might be able to get away with this. And then we have the object with config. Yeah, so then we have our headers, colon, and then we can go ahead. I'm just going to copy this authorization so I spell it properly, because you have to have, I think you have to be authorized for this. This will be body.token. Okay, so we have a request, and then what we can do is return rec.data. And let's go ahead and await this. Hopefully this returns the user that we just followed. We want to add that user to our list immediately, basically. That's good to go. Let's go ahead and come into here. So I guess we'll just do this. Builder.add case. And we'll go ahead and add the case for follow user. Yeah, and then this will be dot pending, I guess. Take in the state, the action. And then we'll say state is equal to dot state. And then error is false. And I don't know if I don't have loading, so I guess I won't set loading. And return the state. And then we'll have builder.add case to follow user. And then dot, and this will be fulfilled. State action. Let's make sure we wrap those in parentheses. And that's not what I wanted. Thank you very much. Okay, so state will equal to dot state. And then our following list will be equal to the action.payload. We'll just go ahead and override our following list. We can return the state. Nope. State. I'll get it one of these days. And then finally builder.add case, and this will be follow user.rejected and state action. We'll go ahead and set the error to true, basically. State equal to dot state, and error is true. Okay, make sure to return this one as well. So basically what we want to go ahead and do is dispatch this. It'll go ahead and update the list of followers for the person that's logged in inside the user slice, and then we should be able to update the followed button, and it's probably going to say like following or something and be outlined and stuff like that. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll follow this person. I'm looking on Twitter. So now in the profile follow section, let's go ahead and bring in all the stuff we need. So we need to import our use dispatch. We need to also import our app dispatch. So import app dispatch. I don't know why it keeps, something's wrong with my prettier. I don't know what the deal is. And import follow user from our Redux slice. I'm so glad I'm almost done using VS Code. And then let's go ahead and bring in all of this. So in here, we'll say import, not import, oh my goodness, const dispatch is equal to use dispatch. Let's make sure we say it's an app dispatch equal to use dispatch. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and say const follow user, or handle follow user so it doesn't get confused is equal to an arrow function. And here we'll go ahead and dispatch. And I guess we are going to need use selector. So use selector, and we're going to need root state. Root state. Now we can probably add some extra checks here to make sure that, you know, there is a user and all of that stuff. So we'll go ahead and say const token is equal to, and we'll say use selector, and then we'll have our state, root state, and then we'll return state.user.token. So we'll make sure that there's a token. So we want to make sure if token, then we'll dispatch, because we don't want to try to dispatch if we don't have a token. And we should have the username. So then we can go ahead and dispatch follow user, and this will take in the token. This needs to be an object actually. This will take in the token and the username. Username, although this will be follow E is username, and that should be fine, I believe. One last thing we might want is a const following list is equal to use selector of state and root state, and then we'll go ahead and return state.user.following. I spelled root state wrong. There we go. So we'll get the following list, and then this will update automatically. So maybe we go ahead and do this and this. So now we'll go ahead and say like following list dot contains dot find, and we're gonna have to say like, I forgot to do this, but it's like find person, and then person dot username is equal to username question mark. So if that's the case, we want the button to not say this. We want a different button, and we probably actually want like a div, a fake button, and div, and then do this, and then this will probably say like following, and then this can have a class name equal to instead of follow section button, it'll be follow section following or something. So then if they're following already, it'll pop up as this instead of saying follow. So let's go ahead and add an on click, and let's also clean this up a little bit because this is really hard to read. So let's say this. So question mark, we'll say that they're already following. Otherwise, we'll do this, and then let's go ahead and add the on click. That way it's not as anticlimactic, equal to, and this will be handle follow user. Let's see how this explodes. So let's go into our console. Probably not going to see anything. Best case scenario, this switches. Okay, so 405 method not allowed. Apparently it's not a post. So let's go ahead and update our slice to make this a put request. Follow user, so this is a put. Let's come back in here. Let's give it a refresh. Sure. We go ahead and follow now. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it says following. If we go back to the home page and if we refresh for the first time, so it's saying undefined and empty. So the user doesn't exist yet in the layout page. So it actually does create a new button. So instead of it being a div, it is a button. And so let's fix this. So now this will be a button. And then let's say this is follow button. Follow button, and then the top one will be unfollow button. So this will be section unfollow button, and this one like has a hover effect, so we might be able to do on mouse over. So let's say on mouse over, and then maybe we go ahead and say const hovering on, this is going to get messy, but hovering over unfollow, set hovering over unfollow. So I guess it won't be that hard. Go ahead and bring in use states. This will be a Boolean, and this will be start out to be false, obviously. So on mouse over, we'll basically go ahead and just set the hover. Although we're gonna need an on mouse exit, right? On mouse. So there's on mouse enter, I think, and on mouse leave. But if we say on mouse enter is equal to this is gonna be really ugly. But we can go ahead and say set hovering over unfollow true, and on mouse leave. We can go ahead and set hovering over unfollow to false. And then what we can go ahead and do is we can do a little bit of stuff in here. So we'll basically say like hovering over unfollow question mark. If that's the case, we'll go ahead and say unfollow. Otherwise we'll say following. So fix that. So for hovering over the button, we'll say unfollow. Otherwise, we'll say follow. So if we go back to Rick and go into Rick, so it says following, we hover over, it says unfollow. Okay, so that's what we need. And then yeah, so I think we're gonna need two different classes. So this is gonna be really messy. So we are gonna go ahead and do something like this just to clean this up a little bit. So class name is gonna be a little bit gross, and on mouse enter, on mouse leave, and all that stuff is gross. So let's go ahead and just fix this up a little bit. Do this and bring this over. So now basically, so we can just do an hover effect. It's the same color and everything. It's just the color changes and a couple other things. So yeah, this will be fun. We'll just do a hover effect. So let's go ahead and copy this to make sure this button is now working again. So now instead of here, section button, it'll be follow button. So let's grab this one, profile section on follow button, copy this, paste this. So width instead of 80 will be 104 px. Height will be the same. Height will be 36 px. Whoops, 36 px. And then border, we'll have a border. So border will be 1 px solid. And this is going to be the light gray. So I'm going to grab the light gray color. And then what else do we want? So it doesn't have a background color. Font size, once again, will be 15 px. And then font weight will be 600. If we want to, we could also have a cursor pointer. Doesn't matter. And then next we'll say dot profile follow section unfollow button hover. So basically the height and width is the same, except now border will be 1 px solid. We'll go ahead and say that's red. And we also set the color to red, so color will be red. And then background color will be RGBA. So it'd be red 255 0 0 and then like 0.3. So let's just see how that looks. So now we're following. Now it says unfollow. The only other thing I can think of is one, unfollow is not spelled properly. So I guess it's spelled properly, but should say unfollow like that. We might want a justify content center because I think it's moving around a little bit. So we might want to throw a display flex in here, justify content in the center, align items in the center, that way it stays in the center. And we might want to make this like 0.2. Oh, we need a border radius on it. That's what I'm missing. Border radius. And then this will be half of this, so 18 px. Something else I noticed, it looks like the background color might be, yeah, there's like a background color on this. So let's go ahead and make background color just white, and that should match the background. Yeah, I think that's what we want. So now whenever you click on this, it does do some logic, but I'm going to ignore that logic for now because all I wanted to do was make it so we were following them. And then also it pops up like a little notification bell that turns on or off notifications. So let's go on material and see if we can find that notification bell. So yeah, there is an add notification. It's probably not the exact same, but it is what it is. Let's go and bring it in to our application. So let's go into a follow section. So it's going to be basically the same thing we have here. So I might just copy that more. Not great, because I just don't want to basically use the same exact CSS again. So now instead of more horizon, it's going to be notification icon 2020, except this one we need to wrap. So this is only going to be if we're following. So we're going to do the same exact thing. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and say following list.find this, and we're going to paste it in here. We could have done some trick with like use state and stuff, but then we still have to watch for it to change. I'd rather just do it this way. It does it automatically. So now you can see we have these two. If we weren't following them, it would undo that. So that's something I need to add to the list, is being able to unfollow people. If you click on this to turn on notifications, we'll also need to do some stuff. But again, my primary goal was to just get it so we could follow people. And then whenever we go to home, it starts showing the feed. So that's what I want to work on now, is getting some posts pulled up and all that stuff. Now, I think what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you guys a website called Mockaroo, and we're going to mock a bunch of posts and stuff just because to make my life a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and go over to Mockaroo. I'll go ahead and open up a new tab. So Mockaroo, I think it's like this, Mockaroo. And what we can basically do is we can tell it exactly what like our database looks like, and we go ahead and put in all the data. So let's go ahead and just close out of this. So we can, like, for example, make 1,000 users or however many users, make it SQL, and we can give it the create table name and all of that stuff. So first field that we need is going to be bio. So bio, and we can just choose a random thing. So catchphrase, we can do catchphrase. So that can be like the bio. Next, we could do a date of birth. That's fine. So this can be DOB. And then here, instead of catchphrase, we can do, should be like a date of birth, I think. We might just skip DOB. We can do email. So there's definitely an email address. So let's grab email. Okay. So enabled has to be true. So enabled, and then you could do like Boolean, and you can go ahead and say like if false, then true. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we basically just want it to be true every single time. So we'll do first name and last name. So go ahead and grab a first name first, and then we can go ahead and search for first name. So first name, general, add another one, last. So this will be last name. So go ahead and look for a last name. Okay. We don't want any of these to be blank, so we'll put 0%. So now we want a nickname. So we'll just add another nickname. Whoops. Nick name. I don't know. I don't think there's a nickname. We could just do full names. Although I think by default we just set it to username. So maybe we'll do that and just set it to username. And then we need a password. So let's go ahead and grab password. And we'll just do password. So, and we can do a password hash, I guess. Yeah, we'll do a password hash. I don't know what the password would be. I'm not that worried about logging in. We can add phone. So phone, and there should be a phone number one. Yep, phone. And then we can add our username, and that's like the last one we really need to worry about. Username, and this will be username. All right, now we can go ahead and generate 1,000 of these, and this table is going to be called users. Maybe it's if this is equal to false, then true, end, and we might say else true, and this is all red, so I don't know that it's going to work. So we'll see what happens if we preview this data. Oh, that actually did work. So now they're all true. Perfect. So now we have 1,000 users. So this should be first underscore name. That should be last underscore name. So I messed up there. Let's go ahead and preview. Looks good. And a lot of the catchphrases and stuff are just random. It's fine. It's just supposed to be something in the bio. It's not going to help us really search for anything, but whatever. So there's that. So now let's go ahead and save again, and let's make sure that it'll run. And the whole reason I'm doing this is that I can start showing basically posts. Okay, that looks good. And now if we actually refresh our database, so if I open up users, now we'll see, I guess it has Rick and Morty and all those. Now you can scroll down. I don't know why this one's null. I guess it doesn't really matter. Nickname probably, oh wait, that's mine, that's why it's null. Okay, but yeah, so this is like random hashes, random usernames, random passwords. So let's go ahead and set up some random followers. So now let's go ahead and close out this stuff. So now we can go ahead and say like user underscore ID, so number, and then min 100, max 105, 0 decimals. And we can do the same thing for follower underscore ID, same thing. And instead of users, yeah, so followers. And now we can go and preview data. If we wanted all 1000, I could generate it and paste it in. I'm not that concerned about it being 1000 because look how much we have already. And now we want following, except following is literally the same thing. So come back into Macaru and close out this. Although this might be different. So this will be following. So instead of follower, it'll be following. All right, and then hopefully this works out because it might need to be completely opposite. We'll see how scuffed it gets. Let's copy this. Let's see if it lets us do this. It might. So save that and let's go ahead and rerun. Let's see if we get all these random followers and followings. Nope. So let's go ahead and just get rid of any of them that are 105. Okay, now followers. And then 4588. So now we have 12104 already exists. So let's try to find 12. I'm sure there's other issues as well. So let's just keep going until we get rid of all these duplicates. Post shouldn't be an issue because we'll just make sure. Okay, that's good. So now whenever we make a post, we shouldn't have an issue. So let's go ahead and go back to Macaru to the last thing. So we'll skip once again. We'll add a field. So first field will be audience. And you might want to grab from a list, and the list will just say everyone, and that's just going to be it. Hopefully it doesn't need to be a string. Next will be content, and this will be paragraph, I guess. Now we got to make sure it's not too many. That's probably fine, at least one but not more than 3. And then we want a posted date. So posted underscore date, and this one is a date time, I believe. So date time, and it doesn't really matter. I think it's under month, day, year. So do month, day, year. This I don't think matters. And sure, we can go, let's make sure it's in the past. So yeah, we can go a year. That's probably fine. Reply restriction. So this should be 0. And then we should have reply underscore restriction, which is also going to be a custom list of 0. So they'll just grab 0 every time. We could have done a custom list for that true or false one, I guess. Scheduled will just be false every time. Scheduled date, we can, I think, skip author ID. Author ID will be a, so this one we need a number. And the number will be between 1 and 104, 0 decibels, and then poll ID will skip. So let's go back into date time, and let's go make sure that we have, I want time as well. It might be SQL date time. So here, instead of false, we'll do a Boolean. And the Boolean will do the same thing we did here. If this is equal to false, then true, else true, and apply. And then let's make sure whenever we preview this, it says false on all these. Although we want opposite, right? So we want to do, instead of it being true every time, we actually want to say if this is equal to true, then false, else false. We want it to be false every single time because it's not scheduled. Facepalm, I forgot to make this called posts. I'm horrible at this YouTube thing. Post. Oh, you know what? We need to update the post. So this needs to be, instead of auto, this needs to be identity. If we save and run, then it'll automatically create those. So let's try that. Maybe we just say 1, but no more than 1. I put this on posts. I swear I put this on posts. Try again. I guess I didn't put it on posts. I'm so confused. I swore I put that on posts, but I guess not. Alright, come on. Gary needs a new pair of shoes. There we go. Okay, if we come back into dbeaver and we take a look. So if we give this a refresh and then close out of posts and then open up posts, we can see we have all these different posts that are not scheduled and they have random authors. I don't know if we got any with like Rick or Morty. So there's a 4 there, there's a 2 there, there's another 4, there's a 1 there. So yeah, there's a couple of posts there, there's a 2 there. So depending on who we follow, we can follow 2. 2 has a couple of posts, and we can also make a couple other posts, but 2 has 2 posts and some other stuff. So cool. So now we got a whole bunch of users. Now the next thing we need to look into is in our user service, do we have a feed? And do we want to just make a feed? So we might want to just make like a feed, I guess, because the feed is going to be basically a pagination of maybe like 50 posts or something. And when we get to the bottom of the page, it does some stuff. So yeah, maybe we go ahead and make a feed service and then kind of go from there. We'll go ahead and make a new service, Java class, call this feed service. And we'll throw @service on top of this. And we might literally just use like the user service. So private final user service. I don't know what else we would need. Maybe post, but the user has access to their post. So @autowired public feed service, pass in the user service, maybe. I'm getting tired. This .user service is equal to user service. So basically, we're gonna want a get. So public. This will be a list of posts, and this will be get feed maybe for user. We'll pass in the user ID, integer ID. Okay, and then we'll do this. And we'll go ahead and import a list. And basically, we'll go ahead and just return a new array list to keep it off our back for a second. Go and import this. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll say application user and current user equal to user service.get user by ID, pass in that ID. So as long as we have that ID, what we're gonna go ahead and do, this is gonna get really messy. We can go ahead and return, and we might do like, this might be where we flat map. I'm not sure. So let's just try to do what I'm trying to do, and then we'll kind of go. So we're gonna say current user.get following. So we're gonna get the following dot, and then we're gonna go ahead and stream, and then dot, and let's say, so this is currently an application user. So we'll say user. We should have been able to do what I wanted. I don't think it matters. User. So we're gonna also need to make a new repository method, .getID. And then we'll .collect, collectors.toList. Well, we might be able to say set, so we don't want multiple. So we'll say set integer following IDs equal to this. We'll fix whatever needs to be fixed. Lambda can be replaced with method this. Oh, okay, I'm just stupid, I don't know what I'm doing. So now we have a set of integers, and what we can go ahead and do from here, we're not gonna get too much more done, but we can go ahead and try to do the query, I guess. So let's go back into our post repository, and we have find by author, and that passes an entire author. So we're gonna say @query, And this is going to be select P from. Now the only issue is that I think our post, if we actually look at our post, I think this is the actual author. So we might just say like author.id. So the issue is that it's going to be querying from the actual application, not from the table. So I don't think this is going to work. So I don't think we can say from, because we're going to have to say from post P, where P dot author and then we can say IDs. So this isn't going to work because this is going to query based off the object, not off the table. So I might do a little bit more research on this. Public, this can be a list for now. Public list of post, and we'll say find post by author IDs. I mean, I guess what we could do is we could go ahead and say authors, right? We could do that. Find post by authors with an S, and then this will take in a list at param. And this will be authors. And then this will be a set of author. Actually be application user and authors. And we can go ahead and do this. It's going to be annoying. Let's go ahead and import java util.list. Import java.util.list. I think that will technically work because there is a p.author select, and here instead of collect here, we don't need to stream anymore because we already have we can just go ahead and say set of application user of following, and we can just go say get following, and then we could go ahead and I don't really want to go ahead and return a new array list. I don't really want to call the post repository directly in here. So maybe we go ahead and go into a post service. I'll go ahead and make a new thing. So that's for a specific author. Public list. I think we returned a list here. Yeah, public list post get all posts by authors. This will take in a list of authors, of application users authors, and this will return post repo dot find post by authors, pass in the authors, although this should be a set of authors, not a list of authors. So let's change that, and we can go ahead and say private final, and we'll say post service, and then this dot post service is equal to post service, and let's pass in post service here, post service. Okay, and then now we can go ahead and say return. We can return post service dot get all posts by authors, then pass in following. That should get the following posts, hopefully. So we'll make a new feed controller, new file class, and we'll call this feed controller, and this will have at rest controller, and then this will have at request mapping, and this will go to /feed. Okay, and then this will take in like the user service and a couple other things. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Unfortunately, I know it's a little bit of a cutoff here, but we kind of just ran out of time for the night. So either way, I appreciate you guys as always for stopping by the stream. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm live about 2 times a week, and I'm actually scheduling them. If you want to come back and watch us later on, I appreciate it. But yeah, have a great night, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace out. Have a good one.